Welcome everyone, this is Mohan Raghavan, and this video we are going to see the different Playwright objects and how to create the Playwright objects, in which sequence we need to create the Playwright objects. In previous videos we have seen either the recorded code snippet or we have seen the predefined code snippet which are available inside your official documentation. But this video we will understand what is the object and what is the different sequence we can create. First of all, in order to start the automation, you will be creating the Playwright object. With the Playwright object, you will be choosing the browser engine or you will be creating the browser type object. Which browser type object can be used to have some more options on the launching time. So we will be creating launch options object and we will feed into the browser type. In the similar fashion, we will be using the browser type and we will be creating the browser instance. So that means that you are opening the browser or browser instance. Inside the browser, you will create a separate context for the browser level so that every user will have a separate browser context where browser context cookies and user data will not be shared with other browser contexts, which means that you can create a multiple user scenario by using or by creating the different browser contexts. So in simple words, by using the browser object, you will create the browser context. Again, we can give some more options to the browser context by using one more class called new context options. So now with the browser context, we will be moving to the page object. So with the page object, you can navigate to the different URL and you can do the different automation activities there. In simple flow will be like Playwright, browser type, browser, browser context, and page. Launch options and new context option based on the different requirements, you will be using those options. We will try to create the same thing in our Eclipse code now. Let's go into the Eclipse. Let's go into the sample file. Let's start the Playwright object. Playwright create. And if you mouse over on the create, you can see it will return the Playwright object. Shortcut will be Ctrl to L. It will create the automatic variable. So just make it as a Playwright. Now, with the Playwright, you will be creating the, let's say, actually you will be creating the browser type, right? So let's create the Playwright dot browser type. So now we can choose the Chromium as the browser type. And here you can see mouse over on the Chromium, you will be getting the browser type. Again, Ctrl to L. So Chromium is your browser type. So let it be the browser type as the name. Now, with the browser type, you will be choosing actual browser. Just to create the browser, you will be using the launch and dot, and again Ctrl to L. It will create the browser, a browser instance. So now using the browser instance, you will be creating the context. So new context. Then using the new context, you will be creating the new page. And now you know that with the page, you can do the different UI actions. For example, let's say new page dot navigate. Then let's say playwright.dev. So let's go into the diagram. Now you can clearly see you created the Playwright object. With the Playwright, you created the browser type. With the browser type, you created the browser. And with the browser, you created the new context. And with the new context, you created the page. With the page, now you can do the different actions. In other words, a browser can have the multiple browser context, and each browser context can have multiple pages. So in coming videos, we will see what are the different scenarios that we will use the different browser context and the different browser pages. But as of now, we have seen some more classes like launch options. In simple, whenever you launch it, you can give some options. So here you can see in line number 15, you are just using the browser type, you are launching the browser. So there itself you can give. And you are launching the browser by using the browser type. So use the same new browser type. Right. And let's say browser type dot launch options. Let's say I want headless mode. So let's say set headless false. You can clearly see when you launch it, you are giving the launch options. It's optional. If you want any other launch options, you can give it into the launch method. The same way, when you create the new context, you are creating the new context by using the browser object. So you will use the same browser object as browser class. And let's say you are giving the new context options. Let's say, for example, I'm going to record my entire execution as a video. So I will just mention set video. Let's say I'm going to save it in some path, new path. Let's say path is a static. So path start get. Let's give it in the same folder. Let's say the folder name will be videos in simple. So now here you can see when you launch it, you can give some launch options. And when you create the new context, you can give a different context options. Okay, with this, we will try to run it and see. So let's go here and refresh. Let's go to the terminal. Okay, it's loading now. Sorry. Let's see the error. Okay, there is some issue in the URL. Let's go into the URL. Let's close this. Okay, one more thing we forgot to mention. Okay, first we will get the URL first. Let's say, for example, I'm getting this URL. Okay. And whenever you use some, let's say the recording facility, everything should be closed. That means that we need to close the objects that we created. So in simple, when you see the example code snippet, they will be using the Playwright object in the try with resource, which means that after the method execution, this Playwright object will be closed automatically by the try with close. For example, here you can see, let's say go to anything. Let's go to the docs and getting started. Here you can see the code snippet. It is using the try block. So which means that after executing this entire method, whatever you mentioned in the try as a resource, that resource will be closed automatically. But in our case, we are creating everything by ourselves. So let me close it everything in the same reverse order. For example, new page dot close. And let's say next one, browser context. Sorry, we created as a variable as new context, right? So new context dot close and browser dot close. And obviously browser type will not be something like an object. So even if you try to close the browser type, browser type, let's copy and try to close. It will not have any options to close. Okay, so we don't need to close these things. And after that, we will be having the Playwright object. So let's say Playwright object dot close. Because when you make any video recording, right, so that should be closed. In simple, the browser or the page or the new context or the page should be closed. Even in documentation, it's mentioned the same. For example, let's go into the videos. And here you can see somewhere. So note that the video is only available after the page or browser context is closed. So in our case, let's say we are closing all the things, page as well as the context. Now let's save it and right click and execute. Now again, go to the project, refresh. Here you can see videos folder and it is creating the different results for the different output. If you want to see these outputs, you need to open in the browser. Let's go into right click, open with system editor and choose the browser. Let's see. You can see the output here. The first time it was empty because it was having some errors. So we will open the next file. Here you can see it opened the videos link and it closed. So when you have the very long end-to-end scenario, that time you can see the entire flow as a video and you can share with others also. There are a lot of other options. You can use the Java other utilities just to rename this file, or you can save that, or you can delete after some certain time or certain count of files has been created already in the videos folder. That will be the customized way so that we can do in the later stage. But as of now, here you can see the main motto of this video is like you are creating the playwright with browser type with the, let's say, browser, and browser object you are using to create the context, and using the context you are creating the page. And whatever the options, when you want to add it at the launch options, you will use at the launch time. Whenever you want to add some context options, you will just, when you create the new context, you will be using the new context options. So as the name suggests, looks everything simple, but it's better to know what are the different ways, or let's say different order that we are going to use: playwright, browser type, browser context, and page. And one more thing is like a browser can have multiple browser context. A browser context can have multiple pages. If you create directly from the browser to page, from the browser, if you directly create the page, which means that indirectly you will be creating the browser context, which will not have anything. So internally, it will be creating the browser context for you. So these are the some different Java objects and its sequence. So thanks for watching and have a great day.